everybody. This is a very, very highly waited for interview, because for those of you who are aficionados as I am, and you go to the theaters to see things, the big performing arts center, we were very lucky to snag one of their key volunteers. Her name is Jean Dorto, and she's a master at this because she's been doing this a long time. So welcome to our show, Jean.
Hi.
Hi. And so what I thought you would do today, since the Broward Performing Arts Center is the place that I have gone to and that they are talking about, and I know that there are other places too, but the Parker Playhouse, I thought maybe we would start out with what actually is a volunteer?
Oh, wow. We're there to assist the management as far as getting the patrons to their seats, answer their questions, make them feel comfortable, make sure they have a positive time so they want to come back. And, simple things like, where is the bathroom, or how do I get to my seat, or where can I get a cup of coffee? It just makes the whole time so much better if somebody's there with a smile to help them out.
And you have had problems with the COVID. So were you actually closed? How did you handle that?
They opened up and they did a lot of the shows in the back lot, which was the parking lot where the stage door is. And they did social distancing and everybody wore a mask. And the Broward Center gave us beautiful purple masks with a white big smile on it. So it made everybody, when they came in, they returned it with a smile as well on their faces, even though we couldn't see it because everybody was wearing masks at the time. And then when we did open in Amaturo, they did have social distancing. They had what they call pods, so people could sit 2 or 4 people in a group and keep social distancing. It was interesting, to say the least, but actually it was really fun to do. And, the more experiences you have, the bit of knowledge base you have, and we had a good time.
Well, what I like about it is, as a gerontologist, I've always told people that as you age, you can start having fun. Now you don't have to actually work for a paycheck, but you can go and enjoy yourself. So why did you get started volunteering? And you've been doing this how many years?
15. I started in 2006. I started when my son got out of high school and I had an empty nest. And I said, now I don't have to worry about homework and carpooling and whatever. And I said, now it's my turn. So that's when I started to do it. And then I did it for a few years. And then my husband heard so much about it, I got him involved. So he's volunteering as well.
Oh, really? So this is a team.
Yep.
So both of you do this together?
Yes, we do.
Oh, well, that's even better. We should have him on with you. But no, it's better to have one person because the other one then talks over the other one. So this is good. But why did you choose theater? You could have volunteered with anything else.
Well, I always loved the theater, but I have no talent. So I thought this was a good way for me to give back to the community and let people enjoy the theater as much as I do. So that's why I thought it would be a good fit. And it is definitely a great fit.
And Jean, when I started talking with people about having you on, I really wasn't aware what a volunteer has to go through in order to be a volunteer. I thought someone comes and they just, you get interviewed, say, okay, I want to do it. Tell us what it is.
Well, you sign up, and first you have to be a resident in Florida all year. You can't be a snowbird because we have shows all year round. And then you get the volunteer department, Debbie sends a link for people to watch a video, and then they come to an orientation that takes about 3 hours, and then they get their assignment. And then when they get their assignment, what night they're going to work, because you basically say you're going to work 1 night a week as long as the theater is open that night. So my night is Wednesday night. So anytime there's a show Wednesday night, they expect me to show up. If I'm on vacation or something happens, I could always email, but basically it's once a week to come in. And then if I like the show, I could sign up for extra shifts. And then what the volunteer does, the volunteer rotates throughout the whole theater, and they get a flavor for different areas to work in, because every area has a different little way to function. And then you get an assignment, and it's great. And I've been a Wednesday nighter now for about 12 years. It's great. And then, like, if you really like the show, like I loved Hamilton, I volunteered for extra shows. I saw it 17 times.
Oh my heavens! So that's really amazing. 17 times. And so, how long? When do you get there, and when do you leave?
Technically, we have to be there about an hour and a half before the show starts. When 8 o'clock show, they expect you there at 6:30. That's because they need to make sure who showed up and that everybody get their assignments. And then we get what they call queue time. They let you know about any late seating holds and what food and beverages are allowed in, whatever. And then the theater opens the doors to let the people to come and experience a great evening. So they can walk around the lobbies. They have some activities for them to do, and then they go filter into the theater to see the show.
Okay, so that takes a lot. That means someone has to really, if you're a volunteer, you have to be physically able and you have to drive at
Yes.
night.
We do have matinee shows for those who are. We have Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday matinees. I don't know how many openings there are, but they try to accommodate people to work those shifts as well. So they could be home by 5 or 6 o'clock in the night, and usually it's not dark out yet. So we try to accommodate everybody.
Well, so when someone is there though, do you have to wear certain clothing or anything?
We have a set uniform that you learn about during that video before you come to orientation. The white shirt, the black pants, the black shoes and socks, or you can wear a black skirt, and then they give you a red scarf for the women or a tie, depending what you like to wear. So it is all uniformed. It's people could tie, the women could use the scarf and they could tie it anywhere they like, so there's a little freedom. But they want to know that when a person looks at the person with the white top and the black pants and the red scarf, they know that's a volunteer that could ask for help. And that person should be able to accommodate them.
And there have been times that I've been to the theater, not necessarily only the Parker or the Broward Performing Arts Center, where there's a mix up in tickets and it's a big deal. How do you handle that?
Well, you try to go over and try to see if somebody's in the wrong seat. Now, what a lot of shows that because of COVID, they were redone and they came at another date. So sometimes the ticketing might have issued two tickets for the same seat. If you can't do it, you have a head usher who's an employee of the theater, and you bring it to their attention and they solve the problem. And then everybody has a seat, everybody enjoys the show. So there's steps to go through. If it's not something simple that somebody just went into row G instead of row K, that we could do. But if it's something that's a ticket issue that we can't correct, we have head ushers to solve those problems.
So let me ask you, before you were retired, I don't know, what did you do? Were you a housewife?
No, I was a registered nurse and I worked in medical oncology.
Really?
And I retired. Yes.
Medical oncology. Oh, well, they were lucky to get you. Oh, my goodness. And so that's even more special, because I was going to ask you, I have been sometimes at performances where someone gets sick and there's a big thing going on, but if you were there, boy, you'd be able to really handle that better than most.
Well, we still tell the head ushers, and they call 911, and we try to just keep I'm working as a volunteer, not as a nurse.
Yes.
But I do evaluate anything I could do, but I report it immediately, and we have the paramedics come and take care of it. And it's unbelievable how quickly they come to us. So it's quite, nobody should need it, but they're there. And we have police officers also to help, crowd control and to make sure that everything is taken care of.
Okay, I just want everyone to know again that I'm talking to Jean Dorto, and Jean is a special volunteer. When I asked to talk to someone, let me just see what's happening here with my camera. They suggested that you were the one, because they said you've been there the longest, and that you, well, maybe not the longest, but that you're the most dedicated. They were raving about you. I mean, I said, boy, what does this woman do? But let's go into your life. Are you from South Florida?
No, originally born and raised in Brooklyn, and we're here 37 years.
Okay, and so consequently, you're, you understand the lay of the land. And do you live in Fort Lauderdale?
Hollywood.
In Hollywood. So that is kind of a drive up to Fort Lauderdale for you.
Well, during the weeknights, I always give myself extra time because never know about traffic. But you'd like to get there on time because you take pride in being responsible because they're depending on you. So I like to always make sure that I'm there when they need me.
And would you recommend for people to become volunteers? What would you say
Oh,
to
definitely.
someone? What do you say when someone's saying, oh, I don't know what to do, I've just retired? Give me the little spiel that you go through.
Well, first you have to like people and you have to love the theater. And if you have those two things, this is a perfect place to volunteer because you do get to see most of the shows. You don't see the whole show because you do have your function or your job or your assignment to take care of. But you get the people that you meet I think give us more than we ever give them. The patrons, when they come in, they're happy, you just to give them a little bit of individual attention when they show up, and it goes a long way. They really enjoy it, and we get so much out of it as well.
And do you have any stories that are pretty exciting that you can tell us? Something that maybe happened that day that you hadn't expected, and then you went home and you thought about it, or something, something positive. Was there anything that usually every job or everything people do this, oh yeah, I remember that. Is there something that gets you?
I think it's probably a show with children that come in and you see how the children react. And during intermission at the end of the show, how they come back, they run over to you. They say, because you see them when they first come in and they run over to you and they say, oh my God, it was so good. They were so lovely. And I think that is the best because you see the children really pour themselves into it and they really love it. And then you made somebody love the theater. And that is just a great experience. If it's a child show with the C's program, or if they come to see an adult, a Broadway show that has that's a child's theme, it's just when you see the gleam in their eyes and the little kids getting dressed up. I mean, it's just a great experience. I mean, it's really wonderful.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Sure, that makes you know that then I've talked to people and I've asked them why they go to the theater, and they said they had an experience when they were young, just as you said,
Right.
and they enjoyed it.
Right.
In fact, I've gone to some of the ballet that they've done there at Broward performing, and the little girls are all dressed up in these cute little outfits. I mean, like,
Right.
they want to be a ballerina.
Yes, it's phenomenal to see it. And you see young people at the opera, which is so wonderful to see that another generation of young people are coming to the opera. So not just the Broadway shows, but it's very exciting to see new blood coming in. They want to participate and to learn and to see. So it's very satisfying to see how everybody comes and enjoys the shows.
Just talking to you, I am sure that they have already offered you a paying job. I mean,
I don't want
I know,
it.
but they have, haven't you? Because I can tell you're priceless. I can see it right now. Listen, Jean, we have something we really need to see, but you're not interested in working that way anymore, huh?
No, I did my work, and now I just want to enjoy life and travel.
And so, do you travel? Where do you go?
We just came back yesterday, as a matter of fact. We did a 10-day cruise down the Chesapeake Bay. So we went to Williamsburg and Jamestown and Norfolk and Yorktown. I have to stick in my Hamilton, a little connection there. We went to Annapolis, and it's just nice to see the United States. And, you pack once and you unpack and you enjoy yourself. It's really nice.
I didn't know that they do cruises. It's an inland cruise?
Yes. We stayed in the whole Chesapeake Bay for 10 days.
Well, that's fabulous. I see. So that's really now what you're getting to do. And then, of course, you have a son, I think you said, in Phoenix.
Yes.
And so you have to go out, see him, or he comes here?
We take turns. As a matter of fact, the beginning of the month, he does community theater. He's a veterinarian by profession.
Yeah.
But he does community theater, and we went out to see him opening weekend. So he has, he volunteers in a different way with the theater, but he really enjoys it. So it's wonderful. He did a great job.
He's got to be talented to do that.
Extremely talented. We're very proud of him.
Wow. Well, see, that's why they chose you. You have such an interesting life. I can see that. Well, let me ask you then something more about it. Did they ever take you backstage, and do you get to see a lot of the things that are happening besides just volunteering?
There is a line that we don't go backstage. That's only for the performers, and we don't go back there at all, at any time. Very rarely do they ever have anything that goes back. So we don't see the costumes, we don't see the staging, we don't see the people, no contact. There's the front of house, and there's I don't know what they call it, but the stage people. So we don't,
back of the house.
Right. So we don't mingle. I mean, they might walk by us to go to the dressing rooms or something, whatever, but we don't go backstage at all.
So you're really
Because,
out in the front with the
right.
people doing what you're supposed to do. Now, the other thing I've noticed is sometimes people get there early and they want to get in, but the doors are closed. How does that work?
Well, they've been opening the doors much earlier these days. So when people come in, the lobby might not be open, but they can come into the building, so they're not out in the elements in case it's warm or if it's raining or whatever. And there's a place they stay in the lobby when they first come in. And then afterwards, when the lobby opens, then they let everybody through. So we try to accommodate people that are not standing out in the hot sun. Or if it's inclement weather, we try to let them come in earlier. But of course, everybody has to get their assignments, and also the bartenders and the servers have to make sure they're lined up and they're ready to go before we let people in too prematurely. But we try to accommodate people as much as we can.
And there's the other thing, if I'm not mistaken, you don't want any food in the center, the performing, when they're in their seats.
Well, they've changed since, COVID has been relaxed. So depending on the show, like when we had the Disney show, Frozen, they wanted everybody to be masked. That was the production people asking for it. So everybody had to be masked and no food or snacks allowed, only bottled water. But then after that, if another company doesn't mind, then no masks are needed and food and beverage could go in. So that's why we have to be there early. We get notice from the people who work there what's allowed in and what's not allowed in. So we could tell the patrons as they come in, or if they're asking us, could we bring a sandwich in? Could we bring chips in? Or could I bring my glass of wine in? We have the information. That's why we have to be there a little earlier. So we understand what is allowed and not allowed for that evening. It changes every time.
I go to another theater of West Palm and they don't allow food when you're sitting in the seats.
Well, opera and ballet and symphony, they're classical. They only bottled water and anytime.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But yeah, so depending on what is being performed, it depends. And with COVID, they had more restrictions because they didn't want people to have their mask off and eating and drinking, that kind of stuff. But those rules have relaxed a little bit.
Right. Well, Jean Dorto is my volunteer interviewee. And I had all this information, but she's just like a spout here. She just does everything. It's a lovely thing to talk to you. I wanted to, though, also go into what happens, though, when some people are clapping and they're not supposed to be clapping, or they're talking and they're not supposed to be talking. Where do you stand when the show's on? You stand in the back so that you can go down there and get them to be quiet?
Well, the biggest thing is not so much the talking, is using the cell phones, taking photos.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, please talk about that.
Yeah. So we try to ask them not to do it politely a couple of times. And if they really won't follow the rules, then we get our head ushers to come in to help them out. Sometimes when they see that it's a paid employee, they have a little more clout. And they might listen to them than a volunteer. Sometimes, they want to enjoy the evening. They want a video. They want a little photo. I can understand that, but you don't want to disturb everybody around them as well. So whatever the rules are, we try to enforce. And then if the patron is a little resistant to us, we get a head usher to come in and help us out. But it doesn't, usually when you ask somebody to please put away the camera, or, not too much conversation, they listen. They want to be polite. Sometimes they don't realize, or they didn't hear the announcement saying you can't take a video. So,
Exactly.
but I would say 99% of the people do fine. Very rarely do we have an issue that we have to call somebody to help us out.
Right. Well, there have been times I've been sitting next to someone, and their light annoys me. I'll just say, excuse me, would you mind please putting your cell phone away?
Right. And also during intermission, we get a lot of people who find us and say, somebody next to me or somebody in front of me.
Right.
Yeah. So then when before the second act starts, we go over and we if we didn't see them, at that time is a good time before the show starts and we're not interfering with the performance. We tell them, could you just put the phone away, or whisper a little bit more, or calm it down a little bit. So again, I say 99% of the time, they want to enjoy themselves. And sometimes they don't realize that they're annoying people around them. So just bring into their attention, they shape up.
You have a very good attitude. I can see that. You don't have any chip on your shoulder, which is very important. And
No.
I think that that's part of when they interview people. They can tell who I believe will be a good volunteer, because I know in the write-up they told me they have to be pleasant, they have a
Right.
good attitude. There's a lot of things, and I'm sure there have been some people who want to volunteer, but they just don't fit that that
Well,
characteristic.
some people come for orientation and they realize what the commitment is and they say, you know what, this is not for me at this time. No hard feelings. This is, better you should know now, before you invest your time and your effort here and you don't like it. So, but most people when they start in, I mean, some people go gung ho, they can't get enough of it. And I tell people, start slowly, start at first gear and get involved in a little bit, and then you can move on and be more active. Because if you do too much, you get overwhelmed. But it's nice to help a new volunteer.
Oh,
You
I'm
know,
sure that you do that a lot because they're scared. It's a big responsibility.
right. I remember my first shift I worked, I put somebody in the wrong seat. I felt so terrible and I apologized and I told them, I said, tonight's my first night, please forgive me. And they were so pleasant, the patron. They understand, so sometimes you make a mistake, but if you just go over and you're honest with the people and you work with them, it's fine. And if you're not going to know the whole theater the first day you're there because there's 2,700 seats. There's a lot of different things to learn, but and you buddy when you're first volunteering, you're buddying with somebody. Somebody's there to help you. So if I put somebody in the wrong seat, my buddy and myself help that person out. So you're not left alone. You're not learning by the fire. So, but it's very nice. And then when people rotate around, they figure, I like those people I worked with last week. And then when after they finish rotation, if they still like those people, they try to put them. If there's an opening, they put them with the.
Oh.
So the flow goes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's very good. I want to show you. This was the ad that went into Boomer Times. They love the volunteers so much. Let's see. I don't know if it's coming here. There it is.
Yeah.
They love the volunteers so much, and so we did a whole page on that this time, and that's what made them think that they wanted to really interview someone. I wanted to talk about another thing. People with hearing problems. Don't you have a counter where people can go and get hearing? They get something for hearing aids.
There's two things we offer. Well, actually three. For the hearing impaired, we have headsets that they could get, and then when they go into the theater, it amplifies the sound so they could hear better. And then for Broadway shows, they have open caption, one performance, and they do open caption. So if somebody sits in the lower right side of the theater, they have open caption and they could read it. The day they do the open caption, we also have audio description. So people that are low vision or blind, they get a headset on a different frequency and they hear everything that's not verbal. And I was participating in that program for about 10 years. And so you sit in a soundproof room and you tell everything that's not, because they could hear everything, but they can't see. So we tell them what's happening so they get the whole experience of the live theater as well as anybody else. And they don't have to turn to the person saying, why is everybody laughing? We explain what's going on so they understand why there's a joke or what the noise was, and we to describe the costumes that they're wearing so they could really benefit from the theater as well. So nobody's excluded. We try to do inclusion for everybody.
Jean, that is something I never knew. I'm so glad you brought that up. That's fantastic that you did that. It is. Oh, thank goodness. Well, let me also give some information for those of you who want more information about volunteering. I'm going to give you a phone number to call. It's 954-468-2684. Again, 954-468-2684. You can also go to their email, which is volunteer@browardcenter.com. I just think that anybody that wants to be a volunteer and has the kind of attitude you have, they need to really go. Do you always need volunteers, or you turn
always
away? Do you?
We always need volunteers. Some people, we opened the theater years ago, and some people are getting a little bit too old to do it. So we need more people. And after COVID, unfortunately, we lost some volunteers. They decided not to come back. So we're at a deficit. So we need volunteers. So we need, like the Marines, we need a few good ones out there to come and help us out.
Okay, everybody. I hope if you're watching this that you're going to do that. And Jean Dorto has been my wonderful, wonderful interviewee. I think she's the key volunteer there. And Jean, I thank you for taking your time to do this.
My pleasure.
It's been wonderful.